Did you notice how every trip to the palenque feels heavier on the wallet? Before, 500 peso could fill a bag with gulay, itlog, bigas, and ulam for the family. Now, 500 peso feels like a cruel joke, barely enough for 1 kilo of pork and a tray of eggs. It's like our money is shrinking, but the price tags are growing fangs. And that, my friends, is the silent monster called inflation. Inflation isn't just a boring economics term you see in the news. It's the invisible thief that sneaks into your Tahoe every morning, jumps onto your jeepney fare, and even eats a piece of your child's bayon before they get to school. It's not just numbers, it's personal. It's that moment when Nane sighs at the cashier, or when Tate quietly switches from ulam to instant noodles. It's that heartbreaking line we've all heard at least once. Anak, wala ng ulam bukas. And here's the scary part. Most of us didn't even notice when it all started. Because inflation creeps up slowly, quietly. Like boiling water, you don't realize you're in danger until it's already too late. But before we dive deeper into this, welcome to Now Leo Know, your go-to place for fun facts, eye-opening trivia, and mind-blowing information about everything under the sun. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss a trivia-filled adventure. Alright, let's get back to today's topic, because this one hits home for millions of Filipino families. Let's make it simple. Inflation means your money buys less than it used to. Think of your 100 peso bill. A few years ago, that could cover lunch. Today, you might only get a burger meal, if you're lucky. The value of money shrinks while prices grow. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas tracks this with numbers, but families measure it with experience. Nane knows inflation better than any economist because she feels it while budgeting for rice. Inflation doesn't just affect luxuries, it hits necessities like food, fuel, and electricity. That's why its impact feels so heavy for ordinary Filipinos. And here's the twist. Inflation doesn't hit everyone equally. Wealthier households might cut back on dining out, but poorer families are forced to cut back on meals. So while the data might say 5% inflation, the lived reality for many is much worse. It feels like 20% when you're living paycheck to paycheck. Global oil shocks, food supply issues, and even climate disasters all fuel inflation. When typhoons damage crops, the price of onions and vegetables skyrocket. When fuel prices rise, every tricycle and jeepney fare follows. Add global problems like wars, supply chain breakdowns, and even currency fluctuations. And suddenly, everything costs more, from sardinas to cell phone load. The sad truth? Even if salaries rise slowly, prices rise much faster. That's the endless race Filipino families can't seem to win. It's like running on a treadmill while someone keeps increasing the speed. You're working harder but staying in the same place, or worse, falling behind. And the cruel part? Families have no control over these global shocks. They can only brace for impact, while the burden of adjustment lands squarely on their shoulders. Imagine a father working 2 jobs, yet still struggling to pay for rent, school supplies, and groceries. Imagine a mother calculating whether to buy milk for her baby or electricity for the house. These are not just statistics. These are the quiet sacrifices millions make every single day. Inflation forces families to cut corners. They buy cheaper, less nutritious food, skip health checkups, or borrow money just to survive. It's exhausting, demoralizing, and unfair. For many, life becomes a cycle of earning and immediately losing everything to higher prices. And when families are forced into survival mode, dreams get postponed. Education, small business plans, even savings for the future, all are sacrificed just to make it through the week. This isn't just about today's hunger. It's about tomorrow's opportunities being stolen right in front of our eyes. Inflation doesn't just hurt the poor, it squeezes the middle class as well. Young professionals who once dreamed of saving for a house now see their savings wiped out by grocery bills and higher rent. Even OFWs sending remittances feel the pinch. What used to support their families generously now barely stretches to cover basic needs. The so-called aspiring middle class is slowly being pushed back down, losing stability they worked so hard to achieve. And this is dangerous, because when the middle class shrinks, the whole economy suffers. The middle class fuels consumption, investment, and growth. Without them, progress stalls. That's why inflation isn't just a household problem. It's a national emergency that weakens the backbone of society. Here's the part we rarely talk about. Inflation doesn't just empty wallets, it drains hope. Stress rises as parents argue over money, and children feel the tension when they hear, "Wala tayong budget diyan." Financial struggles often lead to depression, anxiety, and health problems. Poverty is not just material, it's emotional. When inflation crushes dreams, it affects not just the economy, but our mental well-being, family unity, and community trust. Let's be real, no price index measures sleepless nights or tears shed in silence. These invisible costs are just as real as the numbers flashing on TV. Inflation creates a silent crisis, one that eats away at our wallets and our sense of security. But Filipinos are resilient, right? We always find ways to cope, even if it means downgrading from 3 meals a day to 2. Some stretch ulam with more rice, or switch to instant noodles. Side hustles, like online selling, tricycle driving, or food delivery, have become lifelines. Everyone's trying to make their pesos work harder. But let's be real, resilience shouldn't be mistaken for acceptance. Families shouldn't have to suffer endlessly just to survive. Yes, Pinoys are resourceful, but resourcefulness should be a choice, not a forced response to a broken system. The fact that we have to normalize hardship says more about leadership than it does about our resilience. Yes, the government steps in with subsidies and cash aid, but these solutions are often just temporary fixes. They rarely reach everyone who truly needs them. Inflation is like a leaking boat. You can't just scoop water out, you need to fix the hole. Long-term solutions require real agricultural reform, energy stability, and job creation. Without systemic changes, families will keep drowning in high prices and low wages. It's not enough to just put band-aids on a broken system. We need bold reforms that prioritize ordinary Filipinos. And here's the painful truth. Corruption and inefficiency often eat away at what little aid is available. Too often, the help doesn't reach the very people it's meant for. Until governance becomes transparent and truly pro-people, inflation relief will always feel like too little, too late. Look at Japan, Singapore, and South Korea. They faced inflation and poverty too, but they invested in strong industries, efficient farming, and technology-driven growth. The Philippines has the talent, resources, and creativity to do the same. But without unity and proper leadership, progress will always feel out of reach. Filipinos deserve more than just survival. They deserve prosperity. History proves it's possible if we learn from the past and apply those lessons. These countries show us that inflation is not unbeatable. It can be controlled with discipline and foresight. And here's the key difference. They treated crises as turning points, not dead ends. The Philippines can too, but it requires courage to break old patterns. Inflation isn't just a number, it's about your future and your family's well-being. It's a fight for dignity and the right to live well. Every Filipino deserves to eat well and hope for a brighter tomorrow. Yes, times are tough, but knowledge is our greatest weapon. When we understand inflation, we can demand better from our leaders. Your voice matters in this fight. Every time you speak up, you help shape a future where families thrive. Inflation is about justice and the society we want to create. If this video resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe. In the comments, share how inflation is impacting your family. Your voice could spark change. Together, we can build a better tomorrow.